everyone, my name is Daria Driver and I'm a senior community manager here at Refuge. Today it is my great pleasure to be introducing Thomas Vandenberg, who is the original creator of Kingdom. How cool is that? We have the creator of Kingdom here with us in this interview. Hi Thomas, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm also quite well. It's been quite a busy day for us so far as we are at the moment of this recording preparing for the Rulerversary update. But how has it been for you?
I've been chugging away at my next game, just working every day, doing creative stuff. So I would say good, yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know. That's nice. And thanks so much for agreeing to participate in this interview. I'm sure the community is going to appreciate it so much. We value Kingdom and we love Kingdom. And like these weeks, we're celebrating 10 years of Kingdom. Can you imagine like that it's been so long and you're here with us? So
yeah, I mean, tell me about it. Makes me feel old. Like 10 years already.
Come on.
Even longer that I started it. It's crazy. Maybe 15 years.
Yeah, no, but it's experience. Let's call it experience.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, all right. But I gave you a brief introduction, but I'm wondering how you would introduce yourself today.
I would say I'm Thomas, game developer. You might know me from Kingdom. That would be.
That's fair.
The most well-known game I worked on.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. I mean, and plus today we've gathered together to see Kingdom, right? So it all makes sense. It all comes together. So,
sorry, the doorbell rang. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, no worries. Go answer that. And while Thomas is answering the doorbell, just tell us how you guys are doing right in the chat to this video, because we are celebrating Kingdom here. We got Thomas for 2 minutes. That is the end of the interview. Thank you so much, everyone. No, not really. Of course, he's coming back, I hope. But yeah, tell us how you're doing. Can you believe it's 10 years of Kingdom? Can you believe we are celebrating it with Thomas? That's crazy. All right, and he's back.
Sorry.
No worries. So yeah, hope it was nothing urgent. Yeah, everything okay?
Yeah, everything okay. Yeah. Just a neighbor.
Okay, that's perfect. So then, a lot of us know you as the creator of Kingdom, but the community has been wondering for a while: is that how did you come to game development in the first place?
I would say, I mean, as a hobby or as a kid, you just start messing around with games. I had my first PC when I was maybe 10 years old, and I would install a game on it and I would look into files and see if I could change something. I remember using the map editors a lot for Red Alert and later Warcraft 3. I would play around with those level editors. That's kind of a little bit how I got into game development. And parallel to that, I was messing around with Flash. I built little like screensavers or little games in Flash, and that was kind of like my introduction to programming. So those were kind of like the two parallel paths that kind of very naturally led into game development. But I never really knew that I was going to do this professionally until Kingdom, until Raw Fury picked up Kingdom. That was the moment where, it was also the first time that I made money from games. Was like, oh, you can actually do this as a job, and then I kind of stuck with it from there.
Yeah, that sounds like quite a beginning, and I feel like a lot of people in game development, they come to game development because they have this natural drive towards creativity, that they played some games that they really liked and they really wanted to try something to do with that, and then they find out that suddenly I have talent and interest in actually creating games. So your story might be an inspiration for some of those out there who are wondering, should I pursue indie development, should I not, if I'm interested, and stuff like that. But I'm wondering how out of all of that, how out of that experience you came up with the idea of Kingdom.
I think I've mentioned this story before. I was actually learning pixel art. Kingdom was the result of me kind of learning pixel art. I had a little animation software, and I actually drew that little horse animation of the horse that the king rides on. not the one of Newlands, but like the older one. And then when I had this horse, I thought, what kind of world could the horse ride around in? Should somebody ride on its back? So I added a little king on top of it, and slowly kind of sculpted out a world. There wasn't really a game design document. I also didn't really know anything about game design, so I wasn't trying to build a full game. I was really just doing different creative things like pixel art, maybe learning something about programming, like the original Water in Kingdom. Like somebody posted online like, oh, this is how you make water reflections in Flash, and I was like, okay, that's cool, I'll put that in the game as well. And then I was like putting more and more things in the game, and that way slowly this world built up.
Yeah, that sounds like quite a start. And for all of those of you, our community members who are making stuff like water reflections, somebody like Thomas might use it one day. So please continue doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a start. But how did it continue? So you mentioned that Raw Fury also got involved in some point, right? So what was it like? How did they get involved?
Initially, so first I built the Flash game, Kingdom, the Flash game. That was, you know, and back in the day, and well, Newgrounds still exists, I think. There's a couple of these Flash game websites where I uploaded it, and quite a lot of people played it, even though it's a tiny, tiny game. And I think that was kind of like the basis for me getting some interest. And then I was contacted by Marco, who said, let's make a larger game out of this. And Marco knew some people of what would later become Raw Fury, and they contacted us and said like, hey, do you not want to like publish this game? In the beginning I said no, because I wanted to be like full indie, independent, no corporations involved. So Marco and I worked on the game for quite a while, until at some point I guess I was convinced and I gave in anyway, and I figured, you know, if those other people believe in the game this much, then it's maybe kind of nice to have them on board as well, and you know, it could be a good collaboration.
Yeah. And like, what was your impression like when you started talking to Raw Fury? Like, did you feel like they were also impressed by the game? Because even, to be honest with you, even until today, we get people in the community who say that, oh, I used to be such a huge player of the Flash games back in the day, but I never heard of Kingdom. And how could I miss this? Like, right now, I'm such a huge fan, and I never knew I would like it. And I'm just wondering, like, back in the day when you started talking to Raw Fury, did you feel like there was interest, like some kind of passion towards Kingdom coming from Raw Fury as well?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I would have worked with them if I hadn't felt that they also saw something special in the game. Maybe at times more than me even, because once you're like deep in a project, you maybe don't always see what's good about it.
Yeah, for sure. And you also mentioned that you were working on it mostly by yourself, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, but I would assume that it's not that easy to work on a title and kind of see it for what it is sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there was two of us for the longest time, Marco and me. Yeah, it's not like you have different feelings about the project. I am always quite motivated to keep working. I never had a project that I wanted to give up on. Maybe I should give up on projects more often. Maybe I should just decide like this is not it and should do, like pick a side project or whatever. But I'm quite focused on whatever I'm working on, so that's not the issue. But then maybe what happens is that you're in too deep. Like you've worked on it for so long that it's really hard to judge. Is it fun? Also, you think of all the time you've already invested, and this investment is kind of like a huge weight on your shoulders of like, wow, now the game really has to be good because this has been like 5 years of my life now. So, you know, you have all those sorts of feelings.
No, understandable, of course. Like once you start, and especially if it's been years after you work on something, it's really hard to see it from an outsider's perspective, let's put it this way. But I'm glad to hear that Raw Fury helped out with that, for sure. And interestingly enough, recently I've seen some pictures from the very first Gamescom where you went to with Gordon and the other guys, and you look so happy, and like there were fans and people asking around. Do you remember what it was like?
Oh, you looked so happy back then.
No, that's not what I meant. But like, No, it's just like you guys really look like that you are in tune, you know, like with people, and you're excited with everyone coming in. And I wonder if you remember what that Gamescom was like. It's a random question, but
no, absolutely. I remember that quite clearly because it was Indie Arena.
Yeah.
And I actually just went back to the Indie Arena with Garbage Country that I'm working on now.
Yeah.
And I was there again, I think exactly 10 years after that first Gamescom.
Yeah.
And it was really, it had me thinking a lot. Like, it was fun back then also. It was like the first time I ever took any game anywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, I also don't think I quite realized how lucky I was, because Kingdom was immediately quite well received, also at Indie Arena. And also I think, you know, the competition was a little bit different than it is today. So just rolling up there with a game and having it, you know, people be so excited about it immediately was actually really cool. And now that I think back of it, it was like, wow, it's even cooler because that stuff is not self-evident. Like, you know, it was a bit of luck also, or, you know, or times are different. I don't know.
Yeah, like right now at Gamescom there are just so many games, especially in Indie Arena, and I feel like back in the day it was and one of your games as well. One of those. But that's an interesting point, that back in the day it was a little bit different. And do you remember how you felt the first time Kingdom released, actually?
You know what the weird thing is?
Yeah.
I've never released a game and felt happy about it.
Really?
Like, it's this weird thing where you've worked so hard, you're in so deep, you're kind of relieved that it's done, but you also feel like there's so much more to do before it's really done. And the first time you're happy is maybe like 6 months later or 2 years later. You look back and you're like, oh, actually, cool game, nice. Because then you also have a bit more distance from the flaws. Like you can see it more as a whole instead of like seeing everything that's wrong with it. Like launch day has never been really a celebration. I do remember that for the Kingdom launch, I was just at home because we were all working remote. So I was in my bedroom where I programmed. And I think Marco was also sitting in his studio, and then someone from Raw Fury, probably Gordon, was at Raw Fury somewhere. And I think some of us got pizza, and we just watched the numbers and ate pizza, and
that's so cool.
each other.
It's almost like a release party, but not exactly, but still.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that sounds fun. But after you released Kingdom, do you feel like there was like a funny feature or a really interesting feature that you really wanted the community to discover?
That's interesting, because I feel the game also changed quite a bit between the first release and then New Lands.
Yeah.
And I feel the first release was in some ways a bit rushed. Like, we had set a launch date, and of course I was very ambitious in trying to add a bunch of features until right up to launch. So I don't know, kind of thinking, I think a lot of things didn't make it into the game. A lot of the fun things that I wanted players to notice kind of made it into New Lands first. You want them to notice everything, right? You want them to notice every little pixel and why you put it there. I'm not very much of an Easter eggs kind of person.
Okay.
Because I feel like Easter eggs is kind of like, if you put effort in that, you're doing it for a smaller portion of the players, and I'd rather put in effort for all the players. Like, I'd rather put in things that are enjoyed by most players rather than by some thrifty some players.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it depends on who the audience is, I guess, like what kind of stuff they like. And then, like, when we were releasing Kingdom 80s, like, there were a lot of people who are just fans of the 80s. They may not necessarily have been like fans of Kingdom or heard about Kingdom a lot, but it's more like they were into the 80s culture, into those movies, into those games and music, and we had a lot of detail in Kingdom 80s in that sense, specifically for those people. So yeah, I totally get it. But you mentioned that New Lands feels more like a full-fledged version of Kingdom for you. Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, it just, well, for one, it has an ending, the boat.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny that if you build a systems game like Kingdom, that often you're like, yeah, but what's the end? Like, you got to come up with some way to like wrap it up. Yeah. And I think the boat does that really nicely. It also ties into, I think, the story of the game in a really nice way.
Yeah.
And a couple of those things that we just made work in new lands. Also the kind of the promise of, hey, you're able to discover new stuff, you're able to discover things that you have in certain playthroughs but not in others. That kind of works out nicely in new lands, which I'm really happy about. It just kind of feels like the definitive version of that game for me.
Yeah. New Lands for sure feels like there is a lot more stuff in it in comparison to Classic, but we do have a lot of players who say like, oh, I actually started playing Kingdom from Classic, which is a very interesting insight for us because we have Kingdom 2 Crowns as a flagship title, is what we consider it to be, because it has a lot of DLCs, a lot of additional content and updates. But when we actually talk to the community, more often than not, we see people who say that, oh, I know Kingdom from Kingdom Classic or from the Flash game. And it's amazing how like it's like you said, it was what, like 10-15 years ago, but still people are around because it created such a strong impression on them at the time.
Super cool.
But for you personally, what do you think makes Kingdom special?
I think it's the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
It's a world, like, honestly, I think Kingdom could have still been Kingdom if it wasn't a strategy game to me. Which is interesting because there's other games that are maybe Kingdom-like Thronefall, that replicate the strategy bit. But I do think Kingdom could have been this game without the strategy bit. But maybe I underestimate how fun or how important the strategy is to Kingdom. But for me, it's really this world. This forest with the water, with the creatures in the forest that you're riding through, and kind of having these moments where you just enjoy these little vistas in between having other stuff to do. That's for me kind of like the essence of Kingdom, and also the way it's built around wanting to create this world rather than built around, oh, I want players to maximize their DPS on something. I don't know. It's like, it's really not built around the mechanics. It's built around giving you a world to be in, and it's a game, so we'll give you something to do as well.
No, I think that's that kind of reminds me of what some of our community members say as well. Like the things that we see even until today in the reviews and all the comments say that, oh, Kingdom is the game that I go to on both my good and bad days. Or it's the game that like one rainy evening I saw this game and I started, and now I play it every evening because I remember how much better it made me feel. And so it seems like even for the players, Kingdom is a lot about this immersion and atmosphere and this feeling that the Kingdom brings, and I think it's pretty unique in that sense. So that's cool. But I sound like a fangirl a little bit, I realize right now. But hey, that's how it is. I love Kingdom. Like I'm not hiding it, everyone. I love Kingdom.
I think, especially lately, since I'm doing something now where I'm going back a little bit to the design philosophies behind Kingdom. In the game that I'm working on now, so I'm looking also a bit closer at Kingdom, and I also think, wow, some things turned out really great. And now that it's maybe even the first time that I think about those things more consciously, and trying to think of why they work so great. Back then it was just intuition or luck, or it wasn't really a long process of like, oh, this is how it should work, or it wasn't like the consequence of a long design a process. And now I'm looking back at it and thinking, oh yeah, there's some really good decisions in there that I kind of don't really remember making so actively.
It just felt right, I guess.
It just felt right.
It sounds like you were also immersed into this atmosphere. It's just you were more on the creator side. So
true. I mean, also I wasn't great at making games. I was decent at programming, but like a lot of things were, you're trying to figure out how things work in terms of like UI. Kingdom has almost no UI, which is kind of nice to program. And if it had I think also one of the reasons why I avoided a lot of UI is because I just thought, oh, that seems like a lot of work and I don't really how to make
Yeah.
it feel nice. So let's just not have UI. It's easier.
Yeah.
And yeah, easier for
Yeah.
me.
And the kingdom ended up having just very simple controls, right? As
Yeah.
well. And I was wondering like, what kind of pros and cons went into the went with this decision.
Yeah, I mean, I would say only good things. There's no downsides almost. I mean, the downside is you have to think a bit harder about how to make things work. So the process can be a bit more laborious. You can't just grab into the game design toolbox and put up a window where you pick which
Yeah.
building to build or whatever. You have to think a little bit harder and you're more limited. But I mean, the pros is that, and that's what I love about Kingdom, it's a game. You don't need to explain anything to somebody playing it. There's just the 3 buttons and you can say, hey,
Yeah.
just go and press those 3 buttons
Yeah.
and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'll figure out kind of what's going on in this world and that you'll be immersed in it. The surface is very small, and then under the surface can lie a much deeper game, which is cool, of course,
Yeah.
which is what you get with these 3 buttons.
Yeah.
Downside is everything has to be in a fixed place in the world. You can't really choose what to build where. You can't really have a lot of tech tree, perk upgrade points, that kind of stuff, because that all requires more than 3 buttons.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And we did get some people who were saying like, yeah, but like I thought it was a strategy game, and so like probably there should be more controls. But that's exactly, I think also what makes Kingdom special is that this balance between immersion and atmosphere and strategy, because I feel like if there was more of one or the other, then it would not be as unique as it is.
Yeah.
It would not draw as many players as it did. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I talk to game designer friends, and I know some people who are making games that are somewhat similar to Kingdom.
Yeah.
And a lot of them start with the premise of like, oh yeah, it's kind of like Kingdom, but you're also able to do so and so and so and so.
Yeah.
And then I think, I mean, my reaction is try it, because I do think that this complexity is kind of like exponential, because once you add
Yeah.
one element of complexity, it has to interface with everything else, and then you're just creating a much more complex game. And forcing everything to be just these 3 buttons, not
Yeah.
even a button for attacking, not even a 4th button to like let
Yeah.
you whack your sword at things. I think
Yeah.
that kind of forces everything else to be kind of elegant and simple.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like if you have more than those simple controls, even if you start by saying that it's kind of like Kingdom, it's already not exactly like Kingdom. Yeah. So it's already
which is good,
something
because
different.
there's already one game that's exactly like Kingdom, so
Yeah, I
why
mean,
make another?
yeah, exactly, right? So, but yeah, and in the community, sometimes we also see many different ideas coming about Kingdom and what it could be like, what could the DLCs and everything could be like. But I was wondering, what was your experience like with the Kingdom community? Was there anything in the community that surprised you maybe, or perhaps you saw players that played Kingdom in ways you did not intend and they surprised you that way?
Totally. I think for a game that's to a degree a simulation game,
Yeah.
I didn't play it very thoroughly. Like, I don't know all the ways of how the game is, how you play it effectively, or how to min-max it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then players in the community do that. I'm always really delighted.
Yeah.
I remember very early there was one player who really figured out like the optimum build orders in a spreadsheet of like how quickly can you win the game, or like how quickly can you
Wow.
make this amount of money. I was like, wow, I had no
Okay.
idea. Like, I just kind of half balanced it based on vibes. And
Yeah.
it was really fun to see that other players have this discipline
Yeah.
to really dig through the systems and figure out how you can do things. That's one thing. And I
Yeah.
guess the other thing, I mean, a very specific example is also that players discovered, I have to get it right, I think you can keep a forest inside your walls,
Yeah.
and it's good because then you can have like a hunting grounds, like you can make a lot of money
yeah.
if you, and I actually don't think I ever considered that you would be able to do that. I don't think it's a bug per se. I just never really considered the possibility that, like, if you leave the forest in place and you build walls past the forest, that then you have a forest inside your walls, which is kind of cool. And that's one of these things that happens in a simulation game, even if it's not a very deep simulation game. But I love that. Give players something to play with, and they will come up with stuff that you hadn't thought was possible.
There is certainly quite a lot of degree of freedom in Kingdom, and I don't think a lot of players realize that, because when I was actually, now that you mentioned this, when I was playing Kingdom one of the first few times, I also tried to extend the walls without removing the trees, because I thought, but why would I remove the forest? It's like, you know, the music is very nice. It's so peaceful, and you see all those bunnies jumping around and the deer running around, and you're like, oh, I don't want to destroy in this game.
Yeah.
Like I want to keep it, and plus but that's me being me. But forest is a nice decoration.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit sad in games that it's like the standard is to cut down all the forest for like building material or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a bit too bad that that's the standard way, and then you end up with a completely raised to the ground playing field.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not as fun anymore. Like, you don't get as much wildlife. And we have so many like extremely pro community members who can who know everything about how much time you have to build out this and complete the island to prevent the specifically strong greed waves and stuff like that. But like I say that every time at all the streams and all the interviews, all the content we are doing, and I'm gonna say this again, is that I believe that there is no one correct strategy of how to play Kingdom, because some players they try to win, you know, like in the traditional sense, but there are also a lot of players who actually prefer their crown being stolen and then coming back to the things that they have already unlocked to build up on something that already existed. So there is this strategy as well.
Funny, yeah.
Yeah, there are also players who prefer never to check any wikis or any advice and just go blindly into it. And sometimes they don't know things, but this is part of the fun. It's this exploration.
Yeah.
You have no idea what's going on. And
I think it's cool that Kingdom is a game where people are willing to read online, though.
Yeah.
Because the game designer inside me thinks maybe it's kind of a weakness that like you have to go online to figure out how the game works. Like, of course, in a perfect world, you want the game to be completely self-explanatory and just like everything. And Kingdom is really, really sparse. Like, it doesn't tell you a lot, and some of the things are quite cryptic, and you might have to try it out once or twice or 3 times. And I'm really happy that players have the patience for that in this game, and that if they don't have the patience, that they're willing to look it up, and I don't feel like it ruins it for them. That's quite lucky, I think, because a lot of other games could have been punished for that, where it's like, well, I don't have patience for this, but I'm glad that Kingdom is aesthetic enough for people to have that patience, to be okay just to ride around in this world and try some stuff out, and if it doesn't work, they're willing to try again.
Plus, it's kind of a challenge, I think, for people who like this type of a challenge. It's like you're practically just a monarch on a horse, and that's all you know in the beginning of the game. And so everything is up to you to figure out. And it's kind of refreshing, I feel like, especially these days, when the games tend to have a lot of tutorial and hand-holding. I'm not saying it's bad. Of course, for a lot of players, it's extremely handy. But it's just... also cool when you get challenged in a way like, okay, there is you and there is the forest, go have fun, go figure it out.
But maybe the times have changed already. I don't know if players are if you would release a game today, you could release it with as little tutorial as Kingdom has. Maybe 10 years ago was already a kind of a different time where games were not explained as clearly, because I do feel like the bar is even higher today in terms of how smooth everything has to be, how immersive, how the tutorial just has to flow in the game, tell you how it works without being too obvious. And I think if you release the exact game of Kingdom today, players might not be so accepting of this style.
Yeah, that's quite likely. That's for sure, and that's something we see
Yeah.
with newer players as well. Like we always have those who ask advice, and actually that's also I think quite unique to Kingdom because we have those players who are extremely experienced in those 10 years, and then we have newer players who become
Yeah,
interested
that's
in
really
our
cool.
new
Yeah.
DLCs and titles and stuff, and then they help each other, and the newer ones always help the older ones discover something new, and the older ones helping the new ones with the best practices. So it works for Kingdom. It works, I would say.
Yeah, that's cool.
But speaking of the newer Kingdom experiences, did you ever have a chance to play Kingdom 2 Crowns or 80s or maybe the DLC?
2 Crowns, yes, but 80s, no.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
I'm ashamed to admit that.
Yeah. What did you think of 2 Crowns?
Not
then?
for a serious amount of time anyway. Not like, sit down for it. For
Just to
hours.
check it out. Was there anything specific that you noticed in 2 Crowns or something that grabbed your attention?
I think it's I've said this before. It's a game that I couldn't have made because of how much there is in there, and I think I maybe I always favor a kind of like very pure experience, very consistent, and I feel like that's kind of had reached its potential with the Kingdom games that I did. And then 2 Crowns definitely has like more stuff in every direction, which would not be something that I would have made because like I said, I favor this kind of like purity, but I think it's really good that it's there because it really works and players enjoy it. So I'm actually happy that these games were expanded in those directions, even though when I play it, sometimes I think that's interesting. This is an interesting mix, like, and mechanics wise, they're just a lot more interesting, I also think for players, they're just more interesting. It's a bigger game with more stuff going on, which is good in a game like Kingdom because you want to constantly delight people with new stuff. Like that's also what we try to do with New Lands. Just put in a lot of different things where you don't know what's happening. You try it out, new mechanics, new steeds to ride on, new characters. So the more you have of that, it makes it just a fun experience.
Yeah. I can definitely see where you're coming from, and I can't help but agree as well because I feel like there is also so much to Kingdom that is still remains undiscovered for now from the development perspective, and that is what our designers are cooking every day. They are exactly the people who are trying to develop it even further. And in line with that, do you have a vision for the future of Kingdom? Or what do you think?
My personal vision.
Yeah. Like, or what do you think the future of Kingdom is like?
I don't. Well, it's two different things, right? Like, what would be my vision, and what do I think it's like?
What I mean is like, what would you prefer Kingdom to be like? It doesn't have to be a specific game with specific design, or maybe just a vision, just a dream.
I mean, I always enjoy creating something that's like unexpected and different, so I think it should be the same for Kingdom, like twisting the game in a way that's new and unexpected and different, changing the perspective, changing the gameplay, doing a prequel that set before Kingdom or something. I don't know, just making something that's kind of perpendicular to whatever there is. That's always what I enjoy thinking of, and just being surprised by something that's not just an extension of what's there, but it's really going in a different direction. In whatever way, like I don't have any specifics for that. I always thought it would be fun to do Kingdom top down. Now we have Thronefall, of course, which is going a little bit in that direction, but it's not the world of Kingdom. You could have a Kingdom RPG. You could have, like you're actually finally playing the horse, and you can the king on the horse, and you can collect items and stuff. Like that could be an interesting world. You could you could play as the greed, maybe. I don't know. Like just doing a whole,
that would be fun.
Having a twist. I always enjoy that a lot. Whatever it is.
I'm personally as a person who plays Kingdom, I would love to see the mode where you can play as Greed. That would be so much fun. And the goal is just to steal the crown, and that's it.
Yeah, who knows what's behind it, what their motivations are.
Yeah, that's true.
I always thought they're kind of cute. They probably have something going on.
Yeah, for sure. Like they must have a reason, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun for sure. But you mentioned that you are working on other games these days. You want to maybe mention a few words about those titles just for our community to know like what the founder of Kingdom is looking on, and maybe maybe not. Yeah, of course.
I'm working on a game called Garbage Country now.
Yeah.
It's a game where you explore a kind of wasteland in a little truck. In many ways, it came to be just like Kingdom. Instead of animating a horse, I 3D modeled this little truck. And then I thought, what kind of world could we build around this truck? Yeah. And so it's also this kind of like 3D pixel art world that you drive around in, that you explore. It's very vibey. It's very like focused on the atmosphere, on kind of like enjoying the quiet moments. There's a bit of tower defense as well. So, I'm trying to introduce some elements that I feel like worked in Kingdom, even though it's a very different game. I do feel it has hopefully my fingerprints, or how do you say that? Yeah,
it's like your signature moves, I guess.
Some of the signature things I like. It's also minimalist, it doesn't overload you with menus, with resources, all that kind of stuff. It just lets you be in this world and lets you do your objectives and find out how things work at your own pace.
Yeah, so you heard the man, guys. Go check out Garbage Country, have a look, see what it's like. And I'm honestly out of questions for today, but I was wondering maybe there is something else, Thomas, you would like to mention to the community before we wrap up?
Well, I mean, I guess just thanks for sticking with this game. For supporting it through all those time. I honestly didn't think it would still be around 10 years later when I started it, and it's really cool to see. Also, it makes me nostalgic, so thanks for that.
Of course, hopefully it's the good kind of nostalgia, though.
It's the good kind of nostalgia. Like you look back and think like, oh, that's cool that so many people like this game. It's really inspiring to myself as well for going into the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you guys for inspiring all of us to continue working on Kingdom.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Thomas, for today. It was lovely to get to know you and the story behind Kingdom and how you see Kingdom. I'm sure our community was super stoked to see you. And good luck with Garbage Country, and hope to see you in our future content again.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Bye, Thomas.
Bye-bye.